I'm going to be taking you through the exact method that helped me build lean quality mass without the fat. The exact same method that each and every single one of my elite clients in the lean mass method are using. And that is known as the lean mass method. I'm going to take you through the processes, everything it takes to get you that lean physique so that every time you go into a bulking phase, you don't end up coming fat. And any time that you drop fat, you do not lose muscle tissue in the process and become a skinny, fat looking dude. Okay, we don't want that. We want to make sure that we're doing everything right, everything settled. We're going to go through all of those things that's going to take you to get there. And let's go. Let's dig into it. Guys, so now you guys are about to get all of the sorts exactly how the lean mass method works. The proven system that continues to bring results over and over again. Okay, so we've got 4 different phases in the lean mass method. Okay, so it's a system, right? In order, remember, there's a goal. A goal is just a direction in which you're going. Okay, it's the outcome. Now, in order to achieve any goal, the systems and the processes need to be locked in because they will lead to the end goal no matter what, as long as it is the right system and you've got the right processes. So this system is involved in 4 different phases. The first phase is the priming phase. The second phase is the depletion phase. The third phase is the growth phase. And the fourth phase is the optimal phase. Okay, so usually what happens is I've got a lot of guys that come to me, right? And their main goal is to pick up lean quality mass. And anytime that they've gone on a bulk, they end up just getting fat in the process, right? So they go on this bulk, like eating whatever they want, going into it, not being insulin sensitive. So what's going to happen is you're going to pick up fat primarily. Okay. And that's what we need to avoid. So to avoid us getting fat in the process of picking up lean mass, we first need to go through a priming phase. Okay, the priming phase is where we are going to prioritize becoming insulin sensitive. Okay, we're going to be doing that by obviously getting the nutrition, the training on point, and all of those variable supplementation included. So the priming phase will be someone will come to me and they'll have body fat in them. Okay, our goal is to first drop that body fat, but without risking losing muscle tissue in the process. Because this is another thing that a lot of guys come to me with. They say, man, I put on all the size, I ended up getting fat, and then I want to cut it all off. And they go into a drastic depletion phase, like completely cutting out carbs, or like following a stupid keto diet or following a stupid carnivore diet. And what happens is you lose weight quickly. It's going to suck because you're starving yourself, but you're gonna lose muscle in the process. And what ends up happening is they come to me and they say, oh, I just look skinny fat. Well, yeah, that's because you've just dropped all of the muscle that you've added along with the fat. So it is very important that we go into a priming phase first. Now, the priority of a priming phase is obviously to drop the fat and retain and build the muscle tissue in the process. Insulin sensitivity is our main priority. What is insulin sensitivity? This is how your body responds to insulin. So when you're insulin sensitive, what happens is whatever food you put in is just going to be utilized so well. It's literally going to be pushed to the muscles. And that's the macros, the fats, the carbs, the proteins. When you are resistant on the other side, where you've got a bit of excess fat, your diet isn't dialed in, what's going to happen is you're going to try and go into a bulk phase, but because your body cannot utilize the macros, the fats, the proteins, and the carbs properly, it's literally just going to be stored as fat. So you're just going to continue picking up fat in the process. And when you are insulin sensitive, insulin resistant, and you have excess body fat, it is literally more difficult for you to put on muscle tissue. That is why it's so important to go through the priming phase first. So what's going to happen during this phase? This phase, we're going to focus on gradual depletion. So slowly depleting, not going into a drastic drop. You'll first find out what your TDE is. So that's your maintenance calories, what you need to eat to sustain your body as it is now. Those are completely dependent on your specific body type. That's why every single plan needs to be personalized because every single person is different. Like I've said, I've had guys that sit on about 4,000 calories and just drop weight like crazy because of their metabolism, because that's how they are. Then I've got guys sitting at about 2,800 calories and they struggle to drop. So that's why personalization is so crucial. Cookie cutter shit does not work. So we're going to do a gradual depletion, and that is going to be manipulating with every week's check-ins. Boom, 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 boom. Every single week's check-ins. If we hit a plateau, okay, we need to manipulate macros. It's either drop the carbs, push up the protein, fats will relatively stay about the same. I like to keep it around 20 to 15%, depending on what phase we're in. Okay. With the priming phase, it will be somewhere around 20%. Then fasted cardio. Okay. I will never expect my clients or anyone else to do an hour on a treadmill. It's going to be more detrimental than it is going to be beneficial.
The reason for that is because we are prioritizing packing on muscle. If you look at a marathon runner, for example, what do they look like? They've got that like slim, like streamlined kind of look. The exact same thing with an enduro cyclist, someone who cycles for a long time. They're thin, they're light. Whereas if you look at a sprinter who's a cyclist, they are like built crazy because they're doing that high intensity type stuff. The exact same thing with a sprinter. Their legs are massive because they don't do long distance things. So fasted cardio, 20 minutes every single morning is going to be so, so good. And the reason for that is because when you are in a fasted state, what happens is you're already in a deficit because you haven't eaten anything. So what happens is your body then uses the fat as a fuel source. Okay, so it literally takes the fat to give you energy, right? But that's why it's important to have the right supplementation, like glutamine and electrolytes, so you do not risk losing muscle tissue in the process as well. Okay, then medium volume output. So the training won't be too high. The reps won't be too high. It won't be too low. It's intermediate. I would say 8 to 12 reps, somewhere around there. That's what we focus on there. And then the duration is, again, completely dependent on the consistency, how consistent you are on the plan, where you started. If you're starting with like 30% body fat, 40%, it's going to take slightly longer. If you're starting with 15% body fat, it's going to take a lot shorter. And also how your body responds to the plan. And that's why it's so important to have it personalized. Then let's say we've gone through the priming phase. You drop the fat nicely. Then we come into a depletion phase. So this is only when you really start to take out the carbs. But by the time that you get to this depletion phase, you are used to it, right? You're not going to be as hungry. I've had clients that tell me like going to depletion phase, if they're not hungry at all. And then if we move into the growth phase, they're like, damn, like I'm actually struggling to get the food out, because it's all about gradually getting there. If you just drop that food instantly, the likelihood of you staying consistent to that plan is going to decrease. Okay, so you want to stay consistent. That's why I do that gradual. And this is the depletion phase. This will last for a maximum 4 to 6 weeks. This is where we are taking out the carbohydrates. Energy levels will feel slightly lower. It varies. Some guys I've had on the plan, they freaking thrive on like not having carbs in the system. Some guys struggle a little bit, but I mean, you're building resilience, right? You're building discipline, you're building strength by being able to stick to that plan. It's nothing major, nothing hectic. And once again, once you get to this point, you're already so used to that intake, calorie intake, because you're slowly dropping it. Now, this is going to be the final carb depletion phase. This is literally where your insulin sensitivity is going to be at its peak because you've taken out the carbohydrates, right? So you are just going to be using that food so well. This is going to be higher volume output. Okay, so what that means is the volume will increase. Okay, so the reps will increase. It will be not as heavy. You're not going to go to a complete failure. You want to just kind of push out the glycogen in the muscles, push out the glycogen in the muscles. So that's the pump work. You're going to get decent pumps, because remember, your plan still needs to prioritize pre and post workout meals. So if there are carbs in the plan, it's going to be mainly from vegetables, and it's going to be around your training phases. Okay, because that's when your body really needs it, and you still want to perform and show up in the gym. So the loads are going to be lighter, as I've mentioned. Fasted cardio is still going to be implemented 20 minutes. It doesn't change. However, once you get closer to that, we will implement something like a 5 to 10 minutes high intensity interval session. Okay, so that is hopping on a watt bike or an assault bike and just doing bursts. 30 seconds hard, then you're going to go 30 seconds relaxed, 30 seconds hard. You're going to repeat that either for 5 or 10 minutes, depending on exactly where you are. And that also isn't difficult. You've got to push through. It's a mental game, but it's for 5 minutes, and helps build discipline in the process, right? You're conquering these things, things that might feel tough. And you're going to get a good sweat on, and you're just going to burn through that fat. And it's actually good for muscle stimulus as well, because then you're going to, again, have that post-workout meal, which is going to replenish. You're going to kickstart that recovery process. Now we've got the duration, like I said, it's about 4 to 6 weeks. So it's not that long. Like, really, 4 to 6 weeks is nothing. If you do bodybuilding, you're going to, not a major depletion, but you will have to stick to like a meal plan and carb depletions for about 12 to 16 weeks. So that is kind of the mental thing for sure. So then, once we've gone through the depletion phase and you are depleted of glycogen, the carbs aren't well, you are insulin sensitive, your body is going to work for you, we move into the growth phase. And this is where the magic happens, because now you push food back in, carbs in the specific, but because you're insulin sensitive, it's just going to go straight to the muscle. You pick up muscle tissue so quickly. This is what bodybuilders do, right? You go through depletion phase, you do the competition. Then if you do the rebound phase like properly, and you don't go eat shit for the next 2-3 weeks. If you eat shit for the next 2-3 weeks, the sodium, the carbs, the water is just going to swallow you up. And like, it's happened to me before. It's terrible. You feel absolutely disgusting. But if you do it properly, what happens is that food just shuttles. The nutrient partitioning is just so much better. and then you just grow. I'm going to show you guys exactly what that looks like with one of my clients now. So that is going to be the optimal macro utilization. Okay, partitioning. The volume will be decreased. Okay, so once you move back into the growth phase, you are slowly pushing up weight. You're going to be hitting PRs. You're going to be hitting new highs. You're going to be seeing progress every single week with regards to muscle gain, lean mass gain. Your energy is going to shoot through the roof because the reintroduction of carbs and strength is going to increase. Now, the duration also depends, right? If you stick to that plan, your body's going to be in that insulin sensitive state for a while. Okay, so you're just going to go through that food. I mean, I'll show you just now what I mean by that. But so the lean mass will be added weekly. That duration could last up to 12 weeks. The longer, the better, because then you're just continuously picking up lean mass. I've had guys that have picked up over 47.5 pounds of lean mass. Like, that is ridiculous. Think about that. That's like in 6 months, by the way, 6 to 7 months. So that was Anthony. He's responded very well. You can see him in a lot of my Instagram highlights from some of the elite clients that I've added there. So optimal phase. Then we'll move up into the optimal phase. So after the growth phase, optimal phase. This is where your intake, your caloric intake is going to be at its peak, right? You're going to be having a good amount of food, but nothing that you feel like you're overeating, because again, we've worked our way up to that optimal phase, right? Your strength is going to be ridiculous. Right? This is where you're going to be literally hitting the biggest PRs of your life. If your goal was to hit a 300, 400 pound bench, you will be hitting that 300, 400 pound bench. It is insane. Anthony, again, he's done really well in the lean mass method. It's all there. He was hitting PR after PR after PR. I think he did like 1,000 something pounds on the leg press for like 12 reps at this stage. Absolutely kidding. And he's not that heavy, right? We got him up to, in the optimal phase, no, we got him to about 225 pounds, 225 pounds. And he started 177. For 10 years, he couldn't get past 177 pounds. After joining the lean mass method, we helped him pick up about 40 something pounds. So it's very low volume, okay, because we're focusing on really building solid size. You're going to be feeling like an absolute beast. You're going to feel like a monster. You're going to walk around like a monster. Like, you're just going to be so strong. So like, it's going to be next level. And the duration will be about 4 to 8 weeks. It's basically going through like proper strength training, power training, really taking full advantage of the calories and the energy that is nice and high. And yeah, that's about that. That's where we're at the optimal phase. During this phase, once you get to a certain body fat percentage, let's say a max 20%, right? Remember, abs are still visible in the optimal stage. They are still visible, but you're just utilizing. Once that fat goes up again, we will move into a mini prime phase once more, okay? And that process will repeat. And you'll find, let's say you started off, this is hypothetical, you started off at about, let's see, say you started off at 100 pounds, okay? Or let's say you started off at 120 pounds with chunk, with fat. You go through the priming phase, we get you down to about 105 pounds, okay? Post-depletion phase, you are at 105 pounds rather. We go into a growth phase, you're going to go to about 130, 135 pounds. Optimal phase, you're probably sitting at about 140, okay? And you'll still have, that's 20 pounds added, but you'll still have those abs. Okay, they will still be visible. The conditioning will be completely different. So that is basically how the lean mass method works. That is the system. That is the structure. Now, remember, within the system, there are processes that need to be working in order for you to get that end result. Okay, and we're going to dive into that in a second. But now let's move down to, so here's it in real time. This is one of my clients, Renato. He's about, I think he's 35 years old. He is killing it. And all of these excuses about, I don't have time, you know, I'm very busy. Renato is a businessman. This guy has been traveling whilst being on the program, traveling. We've been making adjustments. If he doesn't have a gym there, if he doesn't have the gym there. One thing that he really wanted was, he told me like he doesn't want to train on the weekends because that is really where he can prioritize family time. He's a father. He's a very good father to his kids. Look at the example that he's setting as well, right? Being able to do this journey, show up for work, being a professional in what he does, right? Traveling at the same time, and having results like this. So here we've got the priming phase. This photo was taken at 199 pounds, okay? Post, so here by high body fat, we drop the fat, we build the muscle, okay, through macro manipulation and obviously depletion. So the prime phase, what we didn't get is the depletion phase, because it's been updated. I've added this depletion phase in here, but the depletion phase would sit about around here, okay? That was for about 4 weeks. You can see, this is where we started. Let's zoom this in for you. check this. Look at the body fat around here. There's no like muscle, like there's maybe some a little bit of muscle underneath. Midsection not really visible, shoulders not popping at all. Even the face is a little bit swollen here, belly, of course. Then we went to the priming phase / depletion phase. Look at that, looking so flat. That's because glycogen is out of the muscles. The muscle bellies aren't full. We've reduced the carbs. Okay, look at that. Now we have gone into the growth phase. Check this. This is 199 pounds. This whole process from this point to this point took 1 year and 2 months. Now, if you think 1 year and 2 months is long, then I'm sorry, you are in this for the wrong thing. Because like you're not watching this video, it's not meant for you. Because it's not just about that end goal. It's about if you want to look like this, if you want to achieve that physique that you aspire to have, what do you need to do? You need to step into that role. To become that person, you need to do what that person does. And that's building the mindset, the habits, everything around that to do that sustainably for the rest of your life. Okay. So that's what we got there. Look at him now. 199 pounds from here to here in 1 year and 2 months. Might even be less. But I've put the graph next to it now. Look at the difference. Look at the shoulders. How much bigger are his shoulders? Literally here, his forearm is coming past his shoulder line. If you look at that. Here, his shoulder has popped out. Look at the veins. He's even more vascular than he was in the depletion phase. That's because now the food is being utilized perfectly, exactly how we want it. He's sitting at 199 pounds with abs far more visible than even here than there. His main priority isn't to build abs. He wanted to just build lean mass. But still, this is a brilliant look. I'm really, really happy with this look. Chest completely filled out from here to there. Nice scoop, good separation. Like it's like a completely new person. Completely new person. He's actually killed it. And we are just like still into the growth phase. Right? We haven't even reached the optimal phase yet. He's actually still busy with us in the process as we speak. So let's see what we got here. So this is the graph representation. So this is every single client has a dashboard in the lean mass method. Because again, the best way that we are going to see continuous progress happening is through continually manipulating the plan. And the best way to do that is to make sure that we are tracking all the progress twice per week. So this is the check-in. So that's 18th of July. That's when that photo, that's the same date roughly when that photo was taken. I think it's like 2 days difference or something. 199 pounds. This is what the priming phase looks like. Slowly drop, slowly drop, slowly drop, slowly drop, slowly drop, slowly drop. Priming phase. Boom. Then we start to go into that depletion phase where we drop the carbs. And straight after that, growth phase. Look at how this weight pushes up. Look at how this weight pushes up. Boom, 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 boom. Growth phase. Now, this is the projected optimal phase. We haven't reached that yet. He's sitting at 199 pounds now. He's going to be, I've actually updated his plans today. So next week, he should be sitting at around 200, 201 pounds, somewhere around there. But we will push up to about 210, 215 pounds while still keeping that lean look, while still having that vascularity. And who knows, maybe it will go further. Okay. But here, his strength will be completely through the roof and the progress is just going to be insane. And once we do that, what's going to happen next? Just to give you an idea of how this works. Let's say 210, he's going to hit it. Okay, then he's going to drop. We'll go into another mini priming phase. This is probably the point that he's going to be at now. If you look at the graph like this point, if you go like this, there, hit that projection, come back down. This is where the next depletion phase is going to sit around the body weight, and he's going to be looking lean. And then it goes up again. And now we will further surpass the projected optimal phase and get him to about a 220, 225. It's all dependent on how far he wants to take it. Okay. And that is what it looks like here. 19th September. This was just the other day. No, it was about a week ago. 199 basically pounds. And that is basically what the whole system looks like. Yeah. But now in order for this system to work, we need to make sure that the processes are locked in. Because as I've said, goals set a direction for where you want to go. Whereas processes, the systems and the processes lead to that specific outcome. That's where a lot of people go wrong. Let's say, for example, your goal is to drop 20 pounds. You are so fixated on dropping that 20 pounds. What are you going to do? What most people do is they try and find the easy way out, whether that be doing the crash diets, hopping on a Ozempic. Yeah, you're going to lose the weight. You're going to absolutely hate the process. But as soon as you drop that weight and you stop, because you can't take a Ozempic for the rest of your life, not only is it going to tear away at your muscle, but it's just not healthy. Or doing a keto diet for the rest of your life, you're going to really struggle. And the fact the consistency that you're going to bring to that is not going to be that good. So once you stop and you don't have those habits in place, you don't have that mindset in place, you don't have the systems and the processes in place, what's going to happen? You're going to shoot past where you actually gain. You're just going to get that gain, that back gain back, and your goal should be to move into that role, right? To become that person, and that is living that healthy lifestyle. Okay, so let's get started with what processes are needed. So within this, right, within the lean mass method, there are 4 major pillars, and those pillars are the foundation, the nutrition, the training, and the recovery. All of these work hand in hand. Let's start off with the foundation. Now, the foundation phase, that is broken up into 2. First is your mindset, and the second one is your habits. So why is mindset so important? Mindset is literally the cornerstone of anyone's success, right? Without a strong, developed mindset, you cannot stick to a plan. Let's say you have those days where you don't feel like going up, you don't feel like showing up at the gym, which is normal. I get that shit all the time still. There's days where I wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, damn, like, I don't want to get up now. I don't have to, right? That's the thing. Because I have the privilege to work from home. I can sleep in if I want to, but that's not my goal. My goal is to build discipline, okay, to become that person that I aspire to be. So 6 o'clock is not that early, but 6 o'clock is when I wake up. And I'll probably wake up slightly earlier from the next week or the following week. Or after that, I will gradually go down because I want to get more work done. But regardless, mindset, okay? If you don't show up with that mindset where it's like, oh, you know, I'll do it tomorrow. That's not a strong mindset. You're caving into the temptation. Oh, it's just one cookie. Let me just have that cookie. Oh, it's just like, you know, take out 3 times per week. You are going off course. Okay. That's because your mindset isn't there. You don't have a strong enough mindset to ignore it, right? Or to drop those vices, to not give into that temptation. So that's why mindset is so important. It's literally a foundation. Think about it. If you build a house on a shit foundation, it doesn't matter how good the bricks and the cement are. If that foundation in the next year, 2 years is going to collapse, and that's going to take that entire house down. All of the hard work, all of the money that you put into that is just going to be for nothing because it's going to collapse. And that's why mindset is so important. Now, there's something that I thought about. I call it the mindset loop, right? And how it all links together. Let's say, for example, you start off with a really bad mindset. I spoke to a lot of people and they talk about, you know, a reason for their mindset being weak is because they don't see progress. So let's take it from the mindset aspect. If you've got a weak mindset, you are not going to be able to stay consistent, right? You're not going to be able to stay consistent with your habits. And habits lead to those outcomes, right? So poor mindset means that you have poor consistency, means that you've got poor action on habits, meaning that you're not going to stick to your training, you're not going to stick to your nutrition. What's that going to mean? That's going to mean you're not going to show progress at the end of the week. And again, that not showing progress is going to break down your mindset, because then you've got self-doubt. You're like, shit, man, this just really isn't working. I don't understand why I'm not getting these results. It's because it was your mindset that was wrong, or it's your habits that was wrong. So now that broken down mindset, you look at yourself and you're like, shit, I'm never going to achieve this. And it goes straight back. That's breaking down your mindset, which is then going to make sure that you don't stay consistent. But if you have that strong foundational mindset and you're like, nah, this is who I want to become. This is what it needs to take. This is what I need to do. What are you going to do? You're going to stay consistent. That means that your habits are just going to come, and automatically they're going to continue going. That means you're going to stick to your training. You're going to stick to your nutrition. What's that going to mean? At the end of the week, at the end of the month, you're going to see progress continuously. What's that going to give? It's going to be like, damn, self-achievement. Look what I've just been able to achieve. This is ridiculous. Fucking let's do it again next week. And there, the mindset is built. And then it continues and continues. So you need to break that negative cycle, whether it be that, and it comes from the mindset or the habits not being locked in properly. Next one is the habits. Okay. Habits are crucial to achieving the goals, right? Something like a morning routine that has really, really helped me push in the right direction. I really had a shit morning routine. I had no morning routine, to be honest. And I'd wake up different times, no drive for the day, no purpose in life. I just kind of go on about my day. On weekends, I would just like sit around, do nothing. I was like complacent, right? As soon as I got my morning routine locked in, which is something that's habitual, you do it every single day. Now I wake up same time, get my cup of coffee, go sit outside, do some mindset work, developing my mindset. I'll come back inside. I will do reading for self-development, because that's very uncomfortable for me. I really struggled with reading growing up. Like I hated it. I got a bit of ADHD. and I think a bit of dyslexia as well. So anytime I read or do anything, I just get super distracted, right? And that's the exact same thing with regards to, let's say, if you have a poor habit of not being able to pick up your clothes, okay? If you leave your desk messy, if you don't make your bed in the morning, that you're automatically associated with someone who is untidy. Okay, your habits literally make you who you are. And that was me. Like, I would have such a messy desk, I would fail at school, because anytime I focus on work, I would just get so distracted. You know, I just had this like half-assed type of attitude toward life, like I'm not going anywhere. And I decided to make that shift. I decided to make that change. That's where the habits make you who you are. Now, there's this thing as well, like it's known as the habit loop. James Clear explains this perfectly in the book Atomic Habits. And that is, it works with a cue. And this is why a lot of you guys might be going wrong. Okay, I've been speaking to a decent amount of people as well. They tell me they go to food for comfort. And that's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's just because you've built a habit around that. So, for example, let's say you get stressed. Okay, that is a cue. That cue then triggers a craving, something that you crave that's going to get rid of that stress, which, let's say in your case, it is going for food for comfort. Okay, that is then going to trigger a response. That's going to make you go to the fridge and most probably get something shitty, because comfort food is usually shitty food, like snacks, sweets, chocolates, whatever it may be. Or you're going to order shitty Uber Eats. Then that's going to lead to, so that's the response, and that's going to lead to the reward, okay, which is then that sense of where you're now going to feel less stressed, less overwhelmed, because you've comforted yourself with your food. The same applies with smoking. Let's say you're a smoker. Anytime you get stressed, that is going to be the cue, the stress. What is going to be the craving is going to be a cigarette. What is going to be the response? It's going to be you smoking the cigarette. What is going to be the reward? The relaxation. Now, all you need to do to change that bad thing is to make it into a good habit. Now, instead, anytime you get stressed, it's been rewired. I've done this with a lot of clients in the lean mass method, right? And they go from having that bad habit of overeating to now feeling stressed. Okay, what am I craving? What do I know is going to sort out my stress? Going to the gym, okay? Going to hit a boxing bag, going on a run, going on a walk, doing meditation, deep breathing. So that is now the new craving. So what is the response? Is you going to the gym, pumping out the weights, getting that blood flow, getting those endorphins running, dropping the cortisol levels, because it is literally scientific. That is what happens. Now the reward is you do not feel that stress. And now your brain is completely rewired and associates dealing with stress as going to do exercise. So now you're associating a stress relief with exercise rather a stress relief with a bad habit like smoking. So that is just all about rewiring the mindset. And that's why habits are so important. Habits are automatic responses. And that is what builds discipline at the end of the day as well. You need to think about that. Discipline builds discipline. You don't always want to show up, but if you continue to put yourself in that position where you don't want to go to the gym, it's going to become a habit. It's going to become like brushing your teeth, and it will just automatically happen without you even thinking about it. And that's why these two, the foundation, is so important, because without your foundation, it doesn't matter how good the system is. It doesn't matter how good your nutrition plan is, how good your coach's accountability is, or how good your training techniques, how heavy you lift. If you don't have those things, you won't be able to stick to it, and you're just not going to get to where you want to get to. Then next up, we've got nutrition. This is the most important thing in terms of, like, with regards to nutrition and training. This is the biggest thing that's going to actually bring change to your physique. Okay, you need to be focusing on things like whole foods. That means foods that are like healthy, clean, nothing that is processed. Stay away from the processed shit like cheese, like McDonald's. It's just not beneficial for you. It's going to completely mess up your digestion. It's going to make you feel like shit, whereas whole foods are going to be far, far more beneficial. That's everything like rice, potatoes, pasta, steak, ground beef, chicken, veggies. You know, those are good whole foods, clean foods. Next, you want a personalized macro split. This is the most important thing, right? When it comes to nutrition. Personalization, because as I mentioned, that is what actually brings results. Everyone is different. And I've already covered that, but you'll have a better idea. That is, a macro split is having X amount of carbs, X amount of fats, X amount of protein. And this macro split will completely change depending on what phase you're in. If you're in a priming phase, that macro split will be different to a growth phase or an optimal phase or even a depletion phase. Next, meal prep. I hear everyone, I don't have enough time to eat healthy food, to cook healthy food. Like, I need to order. Meal prepping is your go-to. Okay, that's where you sit and you have a meal prep strategy. My clients have given them the meal prep 101 strategy, which literally breaks down everything of how you can do so. That will be Sunday, for example, right? you will do a meal prep for 3-4 days in advance, where you do one big cook, because now you've got a personalized meal plan. It's not like you have to go and scan your food every single day. That shit doesn't work. I tried MyFitnessPal. I couldn't stick to it. It's just, it wasn't beneficial for me, you know. I had to find something where I can go sit, okay, I'm having 100 grams of rice per day, let's say, for example. I want to cook for 4 days. I'm going to put in 400 grams one day, let all that rice cook. The cooked weight, I'm going to divide it by 4. There you have it. That will take me an hour to do. I got a pressure cooker, so these are things that you can implement as well. Just good cooking strategies to help you save time, because I hate cooking and I hate cleaning. So if I can get it all done at once, twice per week, then I'm happy. Okay, and it's going to help me stay consistent, because now I've actually got that food in the fridge. And if I go and order Uber Eats, what's going to happen to that food? It's going to go off, and I'm going to be wasting food. And I grew up in a family where if you leave food on your plate, if you waste food, you'll get a fucking hiding. Excuse my language, but you'll get a hiding. Okay, that's how I grew up. So you don't leave shit on your plate. You finish the food that you have. You don't waste. There's people out there that don't have what you have, and you're going to need to remember that. Okay, so that also helps you stay consistent. Now, meal timing. This is important, not to the point where 6 o'clock, I got to have my first meal. 10 o'clock, I got to have my second meal. Fucking 3 o'clock, I need to have this meal. No. Meal timing is more like, if you're in a specific phase, for example, let's say I've got guys in the depletion phase and they really start to get, they get a bit of cravings toward the end of the day. So what we'll do is instead, we'll shift the meal timing around, because in the mornings, they aren't that hungry, right? In the mornings, they don't get as hungry as they do in the afternoon. So instead of having the first meal at, let's say, 7 o'clock, now there's that big gap, that first meal will be pushed till later, because then you're going to be in a fasted state in the morning and you're just going to be dropping that fat as well. And then later on, you aren't as hungry. The meal timing as well, pre and post workout meals. These are the two most important meals if you want to build fat. Sorry. These are the two most important meals if you want to build muscle and drop fat. Okay, because this is where you're going to have that energy in the gym. This is where the food is just going to be shuttled super, super nicely. That's why you want good carbs before your workout. You want fast digesting carbs for post-workout to replenish. Those two meals are extremely important. And there's so many people that do not even consider them, and they wonder why they don't see any results. Okay, so that is what I mean by meal timing. That's where it becomes important as well, is of course having it personalized to your schedule. Because if you have some guy that's going to say, okay, you've got to eat at this time, this time, this time, this time, but no, I got work at this time, I can only train at this time, so I'm not going to be able to follow that meal timing. What's going to happen? You're not going to stay consistent with the plan. You're going to be like, screw this, this is not for me. Okay, so it still needs to fit in with your schedule 100%. Carb cycling. Carb cycling is one of the biggest things that has helped me really, and the clients as well, obviously, is drop fat and build muscle. This is where you prioritize high and low days, high food days and low food days, because now on your days that you're not training, you're not exerting as much energy, you're not going to be pushing, so you want to drop the calories and you want to manipulate the carbs in specific. Okay? Whereas on your training days, you want more food, you want to train harder, so that's going to push for muscle growth and that happening. So this all needs to be linked in with your training. It needs to correlate. Okay, so carb cycling is a huge game changer. That's having more carbs on your training days, lower carbs on your rest days. And again, the proteins will stay fairly similar. The fats might change. It all depends on what your progress is showing. Supplementation. This is crucial. You need to have, let's say protein, for example, the most important thing for building muscle. Carbs play a huge role, fats play a huge role. Also remember that. Don't just fixate on the protein. But your protein intake needs to be at a certain level. Like, I mean, I've got my protein at about 350. I've got clients that are on about 300 grams of protein. I don't 100% believe in that per pound of body weight you should have protein. I push that even further. And that's why my clients get results the way that they do. Because there's old science about saying you can only take in X amount of protein at a time, and that's just been broken. That myth has just been busted. And that's how I've learned. That's how I've been able to achieve my results. That's how my clients have been, because we push the protein even further. Okay. The more protein you have, the more muscle you're going to pack on, essentially. And also, it's going to be better for fat loss because you don't pick up as much muscle when the protein is higher. Okay. Supplementation. That's where you need the protein powder, for example. You're going to really struggle to get all of that protein in with the food. So I've got guys that are having like 4 shakes per day. And if you think about 4 shakes per day, okay, well, then this is not for you. You don't want to achieve that goal. And it's nice. Like sometimes I will crave something like a mocha, right? You know, like a mocha freezer. You've got a bit of iced coffee, you've got a bit of chocolate, but then they put so much syrup, so much sugar, pushes the calories. I just get a mad drop. So what I'll do is I'll take one of my protein shakes. I'll always get a super, super nice whey protein. Nothing too sweet. I don't like it. Then I'll have a bit of coffee, put some of that protein powder in there, a little bit of almond milk, because that's also in my plan, in my client's plan as well. Shake that up, put some ice blocks in it, damn, and it tastes exactly like Mongo. It's so good. So that's why supplementation is important. You got to have your micros as well. Micros are so important. Macros are going to be fats, proteins, carbs. That's what's going to make you, change the way that you look. Whereas micros are going to change the way that you feel. Having things like omegas, fish oil, but I've put all of this on the exact same thing, the lean mass method that I'm following, which you guys can literally steal. It's on YouTube. I'm going to create a playlist for you as well. Variety. Okay, variety in terms of you need to have replacements. Some guys like it super simplistic. That's good. Then if you like eating chicken and rice every single day for every single meal, cool. Good on you. But some guys like a little bit of variation. So instead of having chicken, they want turkey. The next day they want salmon. The next week they want white fish. One time it's venison. One time it's ground beef. So having that variation, but making sure you still get those macros on par. Same with carb substitutes. I've got guys that hate potatoes, so we have to make substitutes for rice or pasta. Having that in is just going to make sure that you stick to the plan far better. Okay. Cheat meals, super important. It's again, going to promote consistency, balance. But if you use cheat meals in the correct way, in relation to your training and your weak points, this is where you can work on the weak points. Okay. Because your cheat meals should be scheduled in a specific way where you're going to be focusing on that weak point. And I'll go into that training and I'll link those two now. So let's get back to those cheat meals. And again, these cheat meals need to be whole foods, good, clean, no McDonald's, no processed shit. It's just like you're going to mess up your stomach and it's just not going to be beneficial at all. Training, the optimal split. The optimal split that I will follow, that every single one of my clients follow, unless it is specifically targeted on different type of training. The majority of the guys in the lean mass method use the optimal split, which is the push, pull, leg, weak point split. Okay. Let me explain that. Let's go Monday, for example. You'll do legs 1, which would be quad dominant. Tuesday will be something like let's say you got a weak chest, a chest day, a push day dominant. Then you'll have a pull day, which is going to be back biceps. Then the next workout will be something like a leg day 2, which is hamstring focused. And then you will prioritize that weak point, so you'll do another chest day. Okay, and that's how that works. The reason why the split works so well is because when you're doing the split, right, you're giving each muscle group adequate training time. You're going in there, you are giving stimulus to the muscle, you're tearing the muscle fibers. And with this split, you can do it perfectly where you're having 2 really good recovery days. Okay. If you want to train 4 times per week, then you can have 3 really good recovery days, but you won't have that extra work on that weaker muscle group. Okay. So it's optimal, right? You're getting that training done, you're hitting each muscle group, you're getting the recovery, you're getting those active rest days. So you're prioritizing burning fat in the process, and overall that split working together is just optimal for growth and fat loss at the same time, simultaneously. So the training time per session, man, I used to have this misconception where I had to train 4 hours in the gym every single day in order for me to get big, to look like Arnold, because back then that was my inspiration. When I started, I was looking to old school bodybuilders, Lee Priest, Arnold, those type of guys. And what I found out the other day as well is they used to play mind games. Arnold in specific, he used to tell everyone, yeah, he trains 4 hours a day, so his competition could go and train 4 hours and actually overtrain. Because training, that is not where muscle is built, right? That's where you are stimulating and tearing the muscle fiber. It's the recovery that builds the actual muscle with, of course, the correct nutrition and supplementation protocols. So training time per session, I used to think, I got to hit 4 hours per day to train. I would literally wake up when I first started because I wanted it bad. It's so bad. And that's what I thought I needed to do. I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning, 4:35. I was still at boarding school. I would go hit the gym for about an hour and a half, go to school, do my shit. Then straight after school, I would hit another 2-hour session. But I just didn't see optimal growth there. My legs were skinny as hell. It wasn't optimal. So training time, you want to aim for somewhere around 1 to 1.5 hours max. That's all you need with the correct progressive overload techniques. Okay, so I'm jumping to the progressive overload techniques. When you have those things in play, it can save you time. You're going to hit the muscle much harder, much better. You're going to continually progress as well with regards to strength, with regards to size. Because if you train the same, you will remain the same. The exact same thing applies with your nutrition. If you eat the same, you will stay exactly where you are. Okay, that's why manipulation is extremely important. Progressive overload techniques include things like tempo, strip sets, drop sets, rest pause sets, loaded stretches. When these are worked into your program in the correct way, you're going to save time and you're going to see progress like you've never seen before. And I can guarantee you, majority of you guys watching this have never implemented any of those things before. Rest periods, very important. Everyone in the app, everyone on the Lean Mass Method, on the app that I onboard them to, they have got all the workouts with all of the videos, right, of exactly how to do each movement. And on there, they've also got a resting time that I have put in there that is also going to be dependent on what phase they're in. During the priming phase, the resting time is going to be way different than the depletion phase. The depletion phase, the timing is going to be less. The growth phase, the timing will increase. And then the optimal phase, we'll have far more rest period in between, because our aim is different to what our goal is different in the optimal phase than what it is in the depletion phase. So the training needs to be different, the nutrition needs to be different, and as well as the rest periods in between, because these rest periods, so it's going to give you that extra energy to take in some time to relax, to let the muscle recover, and then boom, you can hit it with the same intensity as you did before. Okay, that's why that's important. Different training phases, we've gone through those phases, they all count. I am a big believer in changing a program every 4 to 8 weeks. A lot of guys don't want to, but I've seen with a lot of people that I've worked with, me in particular as well, following the same boring split for 12 weeks is going to drive you crazy. It's mind-numbing. So it's good to change things up. It's good to progress them. And of course, we've got the different phases, the priming phase, the depletion phase, the growth phase, and the optimal phase. And that's what's important. If you're just hitting the same reps every single day, the same exercises, you're going to get bored and you're not going to improve. Okay, personalized. Consistency, optimization. So again, the training needs to be personalized to your schedule. You can't be expected to train 4 hours a damn day if you are busy and you work, you know. If you need to structure in a specific way that you can actually get to it, right? Whether it be 45 minutes, whether it be an hour, whether it be an hour and a half. Okay, it needs to be personalized, because that's going to make sure that you stay consistent to the plan. Recovery. This is crucial as well. This is where a lot of growth will happen. We've already spoken about the importance of recovery days and where muscle growth actually happens, but sleep quality, not so much like you have to get 8 hours of sleep, the actual quality. If you're getting 8 hours of sleep and it's interrupted and it's shitty, not only are you going to, that's probably a big reason why you feel shitty the next day, you don't have that energy, but also you're not going to recover nicely. You're not going to recover well. So it's good things like having specific, here we go, supplementation, like magnesium glycinate at night. If you do struggle, I've had guys in the Lean Mass Method that really struggle with sleep insomnia. There's some guys have PTSD, so we have to figure out good sleeping patterns. If you eat too close to going to bed, digestion is going to happen, you're going to have shitty sleep. So it's good to, again, that's where the meal timing comes in, not to eat too close to before you go to bed. Recovery protocols, things like foam rolling, stretching, sauna sessions. This is going to help nutrient partitioning as well, bringing blood flow to specific muscles, prevent any injuries from happening, releasing fascia, which is going to allow more growth to happen. Not just that, but it's also going to help with range of motion. Okay, range of motion isn't good enough, you're not getting that full deep stretch, you're missing out on gains. Okay, because a lot of growth happens in that deep stretch eccentric phase. So that is why recovery protocols are super important. You need to implement that. It's really good. Active rest days, we've gone over that. That's where it's staying active, because if you are doing, you can't just sit on your ass and do nothing on a rest day, because then you're probably going to just go to eating and you are still following a meal plan. So getting those extra steps in is going to be good for dropping the fat. Not only that, I find for me personally, because I get like really locked in sometimes when it comes to work, and sometimes I find like I won't leave the house. So having that active rest day in place really helps me to get out and do stuff and be more active. So I've really been enjoying that as well. So those are basically the systems. Now, obviously, each go into depth. All the guys in the Lean Mass Method have got all of their things structured in their specific way, their specific personalization. But here, in order for us to see continuous progress, tracking progress weekly through scale weight, and not just scale weight, but also visuals, is extremely important, right? Because this is going to determine what you need to do with your plan. I was asked this morning, I did one of those polls, was it yesterday? So I responded to a couple of them, and someone asked, like, how often should I be changing my plan? Well, that is all dependent on how often your progress, right? You need to be doing progress every week, and once you hit a plateau for about 2 to 3 weeks, that's 2 to 3 weeks is pushing it. Like, you want to try and manipulate it as much as you can, right? Basically, if you hit at that plateau, then you need to change, okay? Because then you're stuck. And that is if you stay consistent with the plan. If, however, you weren't consistent, like you had a cheat meal there, you didn't train there, then don't change it if you're staying at the same, because you weren't consistent with the plan. But if you have been consistent for about 2 weeks, I would say 2 weeks is a good thing, then changes need to happen. Either you need to move meal timing around, or you need to drop calories, you need to manipulate the macro split, or manipulate the training. Okay, so that's important. That's the frequent changes and accountability. You need to be able to hold yourself accountable. okay, to show up and do these. That's the best thing. That's why you're going to see the actual progress that you've made, because sometimes guys don't even recognize their own progress because they're seeing themselves in the mirror every single day. And I've had so many clients that message me like, yeah, I just had my like friends like comment on how insane my transformation was in the physique, and I hadn't even noticed. I'm like, yeah, that's because you see yourself every single day. And that's why it's so important for me to be able to track the graph so we can see that we actually are making progress. And then I'll show them the transformation photos within 3 to 4 months. And like, what the fuck? This is insane, right? And then once you get all of these systems in place, what's going to happen? This is where the outcome comes. Outcome is you're going to build a resilient mindset, because it's, again, more than just the physique. The physique is the cherry on top. All the guys that I have in the lean mass method, the guys that I attract, are the guys that set themselves to a specific standard, right? They set themselves to being those achievers, those guys that want to take it to the next level, push themselves. Those are the guys that are in the lean mass method, right? So it's more than just the physique. The physique is just an external representation of what's in here, of the mental, right? And that is building a resilient mindset. And you need to ask yourself, like, why do you want to build a resilient mindset? Because you want to be a strong, powerful man, right? That's the type of person you want to be. Discipline will be gained. What is discipline? My version of discipline might be completely different to your version of discipline. How I see discipline is being able to ignore temptation, to be a bigger man than that, to be able to push through shitty, tough times, to overcome things, obstacles that stand in my way. And that's why I want to build discipline, so that I can have the strength to overcome anything, to be an absolute animal. Okay, to be resilient, to stick to the course, to do what I need to do, to be a provider, to be a protector. That is what I aspire to be. And discipline is a big thing of that, right? And it's funny, if you stick to a meal plan and you stick to a program, everyone's like, I'm not disciplined enough to stick to a meal plan. No, sticking to that meal plan with that right mindset, reminding yourself of why you want that, that automatically builds discipline. Habits that you put into play build discipline. Okay, you are obviously going to get an elite physique. Look at the clients here. Look at these transformations. Some of these are done within a couple of months. Some guys are still in the plan, like CJ, for example. He's been in the plan for about, this is about a 3-month transformation, and we are moving into the depletion phase now, so it's going to be looking insane. So these are just some of the guys. I just pulled up some that I could find. Absolutely killed it. Completely different people. Look at the body fat percentage here. Look how the chest is sticking out. Exact same thing there. Look at that. Look how more defined that chest is. The abs are showing. Bryce as well here, like decent amount of body fat. Like, he got shredded. He got absolutely killed. He stuck to the plan. He really killed it. CJ as well. Abs are coming out those blocks. He wants to get like really shredded for December, and we are going to get him there, and he's absolutely killing it. If you guys haven't watched, go check the Instagram, the testimonials, the clients, their wins. It's just, he's built like discipline in the process. Let me tell you something about CJ as well. This is where it comes back to that whole time thing. CJ literally is working a corporate job right now. On the weekends, he does extra work because he wants to just make the cash. So he sometimes gets to bed at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and he still shows up and he still brings these results. These are the types of fucking people that I want in the lean mass method. These are the types of people that I like to work with. People that set themselves to the standard, that want to take it to the next level. Okay. Ivan also killed it. Zach absolutely killed it. Look at that chest. He was, again, studying, doing his masters, and still being able to show up. Ryan, 45 years old. He had a newborn. Look at this. Sorry, there's no excuse. Renato, obviously, you guys saw that. And there's obviously a ton of other guys in the lean mass method that have absolutely killed it, working with these guys the longest. But look at that. Insane transformations. And that's because they followed a system that brought them results. Now, guys, I'm going through this lean mass method myself, and I'm going to be posting that on YouTube, on this channel. I'm going to create a playlist for you guys to watch. Every single week, I'm going to be doing my own check-ins, exactly how I do with my clients, going onto the app, going onto the software, showing you how I manipulate everything, how I structure everything. Now, obviously, it's personalized to me. It's a bit different. I've got the back injury at the moment, so I can't train legs, but that is what I'm doing. And you guys can like learn. You can get ideas from it. I'm going to be posting so much value. I really hope you guys enjoyed this content and this video. And not just that, you got a lot of value from it, and you're not just watching it, but you're actually taking down notes and implementing this. If you implement these steps, these structures, these frameworks, you will get there. Okay? And if you follow along the journey, get the information. I'm giving you guys all the source. But peace out. I'll see you for the next one. You guys.